What if I told you a war that changed the entire Middle East lasted only 6 days? 6 days, 132 hours, and the world was never the same again. How did a tiny nation defeat 3 Arab armies at once? How did it happen so fast that the world barely had time to blink? And why, after more than 50 years, does this war still fuel conflicts we see on the news today? My name is Fahim, and on this channel, War and Military History, we don't just tell you what happened, we tell you how and why. So stay with me, because in the next 10 minutes, we're going to break down one of the most jaw-dropping military events in modern history. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell, because history is never just the past. But first, who were the players, and why were they about to go to war? The year is 1967. The Cold War is raging. The Soviet Union is backing Arab states. America is quietly supporting Israel. And in the Middle East, tension has been building for nearly 2 decades, ever since the creation of the State of Israel in 1948. But what pushed this specific moment over the edge? 3 things, and they happened fast. Number 1. Egypt's president, Gamal Abdel Nasser, kicks out United Nations peacekeeping forces from the Sinai Peninsula. He then closes the Straits of Tiran to Israeli ships. That's not just a political move. That's an act of war under international law. Israel depended on that waterway for oil. Blocking it was like wrapping your hands around Israel's throat. Number 2. Arab nations are making noise. Jordan signs a mutual defense pact with Egypt. Iraq sends troops to Jordan. Syria is already massing forces in the Golan Heights. On Arab radio stations you can hear it, open calls to destroy Israel. Nasser himself declares, quote, "Our basic objective will be the destruction of Israel." Number 3. Israel is surrounded. Egypt to the south, Syria to the north, Jordan to the east, and they all look like they're about to attack. So here's the question Israel's military commanders are asking themselves. Do we wait and let them hit first? Or do we strike before it's too late? And this is where history changes. June 5th, 1967. Early morning. Most of Egypt's military pilots are still eating breakfast. What happens next is one of the most stunning opening moves in military history. Israel launches Operation Focus, a massive airstrike against Egypt. Nearly 200 Israeli aircraft fly low across the Mediterranean to avoid radar. They strike Egyptian airfields at 7:45 a.m., timing it precisely because they knew Egyptian commanders drove to work at that hour, leaving the chain of command temporarily broken. In under 3 hours, the Israeli Air Force destroys almost 300 Egyptian aircraft, most of them while still on the ground. Egypt loses its air force before it even knew the war had started. The same happens to Syria and Jordan when they enter the fight. With air superiority established, Israel moves on the ground. Israeli tanks, using tactics inspired by World War II German blitzkrieg, punch through Egyptian defenses in the Sinai. They move so fast that Egyptian soldiers are left confused, leaderless, and retreating into the desert with no water. On the Eastern Front, Jordan. Israel had actually warned Jordan's King Hussein, "Stay out of this war and you keep your territory." But Hussein, under pressure from Nasser and convinced Egypt was winning, opens fire on Israel anyway. It was one of the costliest decisions in Jordanian history. Israeli forces push through East Jerusalem and the West Bank. On June 7th, Israeli paratroopers reach the Western Wall, the holiest site in Judaism, for the first time in 19 years. An Israeli general reportedly weeps. The soldier who broke through the gate whispers, "The Temple Mount is in our hands. And then there's the Golan Heights. Syria had been shelling Israeli villages from this elevated plateau for years. On June 9th, Israeli forces stormed the Golan, a nearly impossible uphill assault that military experts still study today. By June 10th, it was over. 6 days, and Israel had captured the Sinai Peninsula, the Gaza Strip, the West Bank, East Jerusalem, and the Golan Heights, territory 4 times the size of Israel itself.
So what happened after the guns went silent?
The UN called for a ceasefire. The Arab world was humiliated. Nasser resigned, and then came back after massive public protests. The Soviet Union broke off diplomatic relations with Israel. America's relationship with Israel deepened permanently. But the real aftermath, the one we're still living with today, is this. Israel now controlled millions of Palestinians in the West Bank and Gaza Strip. The question of what to do with those territories, keep them, trade them, divide them, became the defining political crisis of the next 50-plus years. The Palestine Liberation Organization grew stronger. Arab states adopted a policy of 3 no's: no peace with Israel, no recognition, no negotiations. And the Golan Heights? Syria still demands them back, to this day. The 6-day war didn't just redraw borders. It created the very conflicts, Palestinian territories, Israeli settlement expansion, Arab-Israeli tensions, and the role of Jerusalem that dominate headlines right now. Every time you see a news story about Gaza, the West Bank, or Israeli-Arab relations, you're looking at the unfinished business of those 6 days in June 1967.
6 days, 3 fronts. One of the most consequential military victories in modern history, and a conflict whose wounds have never fully healed. The Middle East you see today, the borders, the tensions, the wars, was largely shaped by what happened between June 5th and June 10th, 1967. And if you want to understand what's happening in that region right now, you have to understand the 6-day war. If you found this video valuable, drop a like. It helps this channel reach more people who want real history, not headlines. Subscribe to War and Military History, because we cover the events that shaped the world, from Iran's geopolitical rise to the wars that defined nations. And share this video, because understanding history is how we make sense of today. See you in the next one.